It's Christmas time, and there are no lines at all. Isn't that a great affirmation? You know, what if each of us held that affirmation? No lines at all for the world. The first announcement of the birth of the baby Jesus was by the angels in the fields to the shepherds. And what did they sing? Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace and goodwill to men. But sometimes with all the turmoil that I see going on in the world, you know, I wonder if it's ever going to be a possibility. But I know that we have the power to do something about it. This week's talk, the second Sunday in Advent, is peace. Peace means different things to each one of us. Different things to different people. So if I'm trying to sleep at night and there's a loud Christmas party going on next door and I say I want peace, what do I really want? I want quiet, right? Or if I'm worried about how I'm going to pay my rent or my mortgage this month and I say I want peace, what I really want is abundance, prosperity. Now, for me, and I do this to myself, especially at this time of the year, with everything that needs to be done in here, I say I want peace when I'm rushed. And what I really want is more time. Christmas season is supposed to be a celebration of peace, of goodwill, but sometimes it's just the opposite for us, isn't it? No sooner finished the Thanksgiving turkey. We just had Thanksgiving dinner here, and what are we doing? We're already preparing for Christmas. I mean, the decorations are already up. It's the beginning of weeks of constant motion, isn't it? Shopping and parties and events and wrapping and decorating and baking and cleaning and whatever the tradition or ritual is in your family. It's all got to get done by that one day. And sometimes all of that creates tension. And if a family that doesn't usually come together during the year spends that whole day together, doesn't that tension kind of heighten? Yeah, I see all the nods going in. So we can have family conflict and tensions at this time. We become overwhelmed. We become frustrated, sometimes by the behaviors, the actions, the expectations of others. This time of peace on earth, goodwill toward men, can be anything but. So, in the middle of all this, how do we find peace? How do I get peace? How do I have peace? Not just at Christmas time, but any time. How do I get from being caught up in the chaos of the outer world? Last week we talked about faith. And I used the scripture of Jesus asleep on the boat as they were crossing the Sea of Galilee and a storm broke out. And his disciples got scared, they panicked, they woke him up. And after he said to them, "You have little faith, why didn't I trust?" But what did he do in between? When he woke up, the first thing he did, and he arose and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, what? Peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. In the middle of the storm, he stood in strength. He stood centered. Peace, be still. Has anyone ever been at sea and been caught in a bad storm? Anyone here? Yeah, I have. I lived on a sailboat for 2 years, and I remember once, I was so scared, I went below, I strapped myself in, and I thought I was going to die. Have you ever been caught in a bad storm in your mind and thought you were going to die? Yeah. Metaphysically, my mind is the sea. And the wind causing the storm are my thoughts. All kinds of thoughts coming and going. Can you just see that wave action? They're agitating the mind, just like ocean waves get agitated by the wind. What did Jesus do during the storm? He calmly faced it with peace, be still. Just close your eyes for a minute. Take a deep breath. And what right now in your life is your storm? What is your storm? And just face it and say to it, peace be still. And do that 3 times, peace be still, 3 times to yourself. And feel it. Let it go deeper each time. Let the ocean, let the storm, let the waves calm down as you feel yourself being infilled with strength, being infilled with stillness. Peace be still. Take a deep breath. Open your eyes. Peace does not mean a life or a world free of storms or conflict. Hear that. It means remaining connected to my inner strength, to my inner power during them. When I calm my mind, I calm down everything. True inner peace is a peace that weathers the storms of life and even the holiday storms. But the first thing we have to do is understand what peace is not. Peace is not unconsciousness. So if I work myself and become totally exhausted and I just give up, that's not peace. If I become numb after a few drinks, don't care anymore, that's not real peace. Because being desensitized only keeps me from feeling the anxiety and stress, right? And that lasts only a short time. The storm, the turmoil is still under that. We have to go under. We have to go to the depths. What happens when you go to the depths of the ocean? Any of you that have dived, the deeper you go, the quieter it becomes. Even if there's a storm on the surface, you can dive under it, and there's no storm down there. The second thing is, don't mistake peace for happiness. Happiness is a high that we get when something good happens. And it comes from the outer world, and it's only temporary. When it subsides, we go back to the way we were feeling, or sometimes we even feel worse. You know, so I'm walking along the street, and here's a $100 bill. And I pick it up, and I'm happy. I got some extra money until that unexpected expense comes up, right? And there it goes. I'm getting ready to leave on vacation. I'm really excited. I'm really happy. And then I get there, and it rains every single day. It doesn't go as I planned at all. And happiness is gone again, right? Inner peace is immune to the highs and lows, the ups and downs of life. And hear this. It is natural to feel sad when something happens. I have a bad car accident. I lose my job. I'm faced with a health challenge. Someone close is ill or dies. It's okay to feel sad. But we don't have to go into a deep depression. We don't have to become despaired or devastated over it. Inner peace is not affected by the external. Edgar Tolle said he felt sad when he heard Wayne Dyer had passed. But he said, but I also felt deeply at peace. I remember when my father died, I felt sad, but I was also filled with such a deep sense of peace. And I can't explain it, but it was just filled me. In fact, one night I was sound asleep and woke up, and my whole room was filled with that peace. True peace, deep peace, goes under everything. We spend our lives imprisoned within the confines of our own thinking, our own thoughts, our mind-made personal sense. And we get so used to that thinking, we believe it's true. But those thoughts are exactly what keeps us from experiencing inner peace. So do I want peace? Then where do I start? With my thinking. What kind of thoughts stream through your brain constantly all day? Because if they're mostly negative, that's how your outer world's going to show up. People and things are going to show up that way. You're going to react to them that way. So I've got 4 keys for you to inner peace. And Dan's going to put each one up when I say them. First one, Dan, is I have to disidentify from the contents of my mind. I have to disidentify from the contents of my mind. My thoughts are not who I am. So I want to step out of them. I want to shift from the thinking of my roles, of my problems. The shift from the thinking of my role. What happens? What's your role? I know I do this. I get into my role and I create all the problems around how I'm supposed to show up in my role. Can I disengage from that, disconnect from that? Because the stillness is under that. So how do I do it? First of all, I have to become aware of my thinking, right? And then I practice interrupting or creating gaps between those thoughts that are running through my brain. Okay, so first, stop myself in the middle of the day. What am I thinking about? If I'm rushing around like crazy, stop. What are these thoughts? Now, can I intentionally create a gap in them? Can I just stop them for a minute? For a second, not a minute. That would be forever. A second. A second. In that gap, a spacious quietness arises. A moment of peace. And it's very brief. But the more we do it, the longer that gap gets. We're connecting to a deeper dimension of ourselves. We're connecting to pure consciousness. And the more connected we are, the more at peace we are, the more at peace within. The more at peace I become within, the more at peace I become with the rest of the world. Does it make sense? And the less I identify myself as a part of the outer, as a part of the chaos of the storm. So we're disidentifying from the thoughts in our mind. We want to go under them to our spirit self, our Christ self, who we really are. Notice the gaps when someone's talking. Listen to them, but notice the gaps in the words. There's little spaces in there. When Brent is playing the keyboard, listen for the gaps between the notes. When you inhale and exhale, pay attention to the gaps in the breath. They're brief, but they're there. And that's where the peace is. The second one is to identify with my inner sense of aliveness. Identify with the you under your story. We all have a story, and we live in that story. Who's the you under it? Because under there is a heightened state of awareness where you are actually more conscious rather than less. I taught yoga for some 30 years. And yoga is all about body sensing exercises. So that you're not just exercising, you're doing these movements with an awareness. You're doing these movements, coordinating them with your breath. And so what's happened to that stream of thought that's going when you walked in? It stops because all the focus is on the body. All the focus is on making the breath move with the body. That's why people go to yoga classes for peace. Because by the end of that class, you are in a complete state of peace. You have stepped out of your story, you have stepped out of your role, you have stepped out of the outer world and really moved within. And that's where the vibrant, alive, inner peace is experienced. The third one, live in the present moment. We say it over and over and over again because it can only have peace in this moment. I can't have it in the past. I can't have it in the future. I can only have it right here and right now. So I have to free myself from those voices in my head, right? And the more present I become, wherever I am and whatever I'm doing. I remember I was at a party. My friends were having a party, and I was cutting vegetables. And I was so at one and so present with them that someone that came to make sure I was okay. But I wasn't thinking about anything else. It was an experience of just cutting those vegetables. And cleaning becomes like that. Anything that is a chore, if I'm present, if I'm one with it, it goes so much faster, with so much joy and so much peace. And the last one, and this is the big one, accept what is. Accept what is. If this moment is unpleasant and if it's painful, there's 3 things I can do. I can remove myself from the situation, right? I can change it. Good luck with that, right? I can accept it as it is. If I resist what's happening, I get caught in the trap of attachment to my desires, what I want, how I think it should be. I identify with my preconceived notions of what will make me happy, what will give me peace. Accepting what is frees me from the circumstance. It frees me from what's happening. And I get to say, peace, be still. Eckhart Tolle said, whenever you deeply accept this moment as it is, no matter what form it takes, you are still. You are at peace. Whenever you deeply accept this moment as it is. So think about that as you go through your week and something arises. Stop yourself and go, can I accept this right now, exactly as it is? Can I just be in it? And then can I say to myself, peace, be still. The baby born over 2,000 years ago grew up to become, in Gandhi's words, the greatest nonviolent resistor in the history of the world. Acceptance is not passive. It's not victimhood. It is a proactive, powerful choice to be at peace. Do you hear that? It's not being wishy-washy. It's a powerful choice that I'm making to be at peace. Jesus taught peace, lived peace, was peace. And in John 14:27, he said, peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. He's not talking about a peace from the outer world. He's talking about moving within to that spiritual peace. When I lose touch with my inner stillness, I lose touch with myself. And when I lose touch with myself, I lose myself in the world. When we are able to experience the power, the wholeness of peace within ourselves, then we're able to extend it outward. Peace on earth. But how does it get there? When I have it in here, when I know the power, the wholeness of it in here, it exudes out of me. And that's how I'm able to bring healing. That's how I'm able to bring wholeness to the outer world. This Christmas season, herald in a new future of peace, a world without lines. Make your mantra in all the storms this season, peace be still. Catch yourself. Watch it when it goes on. Peace be still. Become a non-violent resistor and a demonstration of peace on earth. God bless you.